All right, away we go. This is December 2022 test. It is F07 on the internet. And let's go ahead and have some fun. I'm paid $13.50 per hour, working a job that for 40 hours, but for every additional hour I earn what is called overtime, which is twice the wage. So if you take $13.50 times 2, you would get $27 an hour. But that's not for the full time, that's just for what you go over 40. So how much over 40 did I work? I worked 8 hours. So what you have to do is, this is a calculator problem, is you've got to go $13.50, my normal wage, times 40, and that would be my normal wage, and then you add the 8 at $13.50 times 2, which is 27, but you only work that for 8 hours. When you add those up, you get $7.56, which is choice C. Y'all should get this one right away if you've been in my class. What's the slope of this line? Well, you would distribute the 1/2. Everything I do is mx plus b, and you would add 2, but what matters for slope, it's the number where? Next to the x. So the slope is what? Choice F. This one's a fun one. I earned 4 scores, and that's on 4 tests. So what is my average? Average is based on total. You'll hear me say that a lot. So those were your 4 tests. And what was your average? You add them up and divide by 4. Your average was an 85. But what do we want? We want our average to go up 3 points. So we don't want the 85. We want a what? Very good, an 88. And we want that over 5 tests. So you can times that by 5 to get a total of 440, and then subtract the total that you had before. So it'd be 440 minus 340, because 340 was your total for the first 4, and then you would get an average of, or a number that's 100, right? So the answer is E, 100. Who had me for geometry last year? That angle has to be what? Supplementary to 28. So the answer is 180 minus 28, 152, answer K. 2 next door angles have to be supplementary. I got a program for this one, first program of the day. This is Pythagorean theorem. So most mathematicians would do a squared, b squared, c squared. I, of course, have a cheater way to do it. You do what's called the program hypotenuse. So you go down to hypot, you enter the numbers, which are 3 and 8 for the legs, A and B, and there's the answer, 8.54, or the square root of 73, which the answer is C. Any questions there? These are goofy. They want you to solve an equation by subtracting 16 from both sides and multiplying both sides by 5. So which equation would that be? If I'm subtracting 16, it's got to be something with a plus 16, huh? And if I'm timesing by 5, I've got to be getting rid of a 1/5. So the answer is obviously what? H. This one is a tad weird. It says there's there are 3 kindergarten classes. One class has 10 boys and 15 girls. The second has 9 boys and 17 girls. And the third class has 11 boys and 12 girls. All of them are gathered in together, huh? So that sounds like the denominator, huh? Everybody in the house. So that would be 25, 23, and 26. Help me with that. That sounds like 25 plus 26 is 51, plus 23 is 74, huh? So the question is, what's the probability that we'll pop a boy's name out? Well, the boy is all the boys, huh? So it's add up all boys, and you get 30 out of 74, and then you get to do my favorite thing on the calculator, MathFrac. MathFrac will reduce it to 15 over 37. Presto, the answer is C. This one's on the one I sent home last night. Same problem. Jamal purchased a car for $6,400. He down paid $1,500, so he now owes the difference, which is $4,900, right? Then he makes 36 payments of $200 each. So how much is that? You pay 236 times, and you get a total of $7,200 paid in the car, huh? So I must have way overpaid. I only owed $4,900, right? And I just paid $7,200. So how much more did I pay? You subtract. Is that easy for y'all? And the answer is clearly G. This is an equation solved. I would distribute the 8. I would distribute the -2. Then I would add like terms and get 2x. Move this over minus. Move the 16 over minus. And I would get the answer -10 over 6. MathFrac. Also of note, for those that take my course, is there's an equation solver on your calculator, and all you have to do is enter the players in the order. For the left side, it was 8 times x plus 2, huh? And the right side, it was 4x minus 2, open x minus 3. Type it in, and all you have to do is hit OK. And then you hit solve, which is your F5 right here, and it gives you the answer. Don't like that answer, go X, because that's now stored as X, MathFrac, and you get -5/3. A lot of people like that because they don't have to lift a finger. Algebra, what's 2x cubed is 8x cubed. What's 3x squared? 9x squared. Now what's their product? 72x to the 5th. Answer H. Easy. Cheesy. No calculator can help you here. It's distribute and add the like terms. We're distributing a -4, which is -8b plus 20a. Then we add what? 21A plus 14B. We do stuff like this every day in class. Now add the A's together, and I get 44 A's, and add the B's together, I get 6B. Answer E. Oh, they love this one. A square and a rectangle have the same area. The length is 45 and the width is 5, so what's the area? You times them, huh? And you get 5 times 45, which is 225. Now they're looking for the length of the square. So the square would have to be what times what gives you 225. And the answer is 15G. You could do that by timesing them, all these answers together till you got that. You can also use my area of rectangle program, which would help you because a square is a rectangle. So the length and width were 5 and 45, 225, and then you hit enter and put 15 and 15. That would be a cute way to cheat on that problem, you see. This has got one of my favorite tricks in the book. They're looking for a ratio of areas, but they don't give you the height. So guess what I did? I made one up. So I just made up the height is 6. Now, what's the area of ABEF? 3 times 6 is 18. Now what's the area of the parallelogram? It would be altitude times base, which I also have on my program. 6 times 8, 48. So the answer, 18 over 48. And again, I get to hit my favorite button, 18 over 48, Matha Fracca, and it reduces to 3H. Y'all learning anything? And the answer is C. 14, if it looks like I'm ignoring you, it's only because I am. A 2-liter bottle contains approximately 67 per 6 ounce of soda. So how many, if 2 liters has 67.6 ounces, an 8-ounce serving, so that would be 676 divided by 8, would be how many 8-ounce servings I have, right? And then it would be, there's 110 calories in each 8-ounce serving, so wouldn't I just take it and times it by 110? Something tells me I'm off. No, 9:30, huh? I got 9:25. Okay. I can't stop the press, so just ask me later. What's the square root of 77? So the square root of 77 is 8.77, and we want to be bigger than that, so the answer is 9. Classic ratio proportion. The ramp should extend 20 inches horizontally for every 1 inch vertically, huh? So the rise will actually, in real life, be 30 inches. You have to set up similar triangles, huh? So it would be 1 is to 30, as 20 is to x. So you would cross multiply and get x is 600. However, be careful, that's 600 inches. They want it in feet. They do this to you all the time. So take the 600 and divide by 12, right? And the answer is 50. I did this one already, kind of on the side. Sorry. Move those guys out of here. And then what do we have? This one confused me. The teacher asked me to subtract 3 from a number and then divide by 9. Instead, she did it backwards. She subtracted 9 and divided by 3 to get 43. So the answer should have been, solve this, 3 times 43 is 129, add 9 and it's 138. Be careful, I almost checked the 138. It says not what the number is, it says what the answer should have been. So you put 138 into that, and you get 135 over 9, which is 15. This one's cool. It says you're plugging into quadratic formula, and what is the mistake? The quadratic formula, everybody should take this down and know it. And of course the A here is 1, the B is 3, and the C is negative 8. So when she typed in the formula, she put 8 instead of negative 8. This is a classic, every 12 minutes, they begin a 60-second commercial, and the other one is every 10 minutes. So when will they run together? You see this all the time. It's the LCM of 12 and 10. So that's one of my programs called LCM. And if you were in my class, you know to hit one of the numbers twice, and the LCM is 60. That's when they'll both appear again. Answer K. This one is a plug and chug. It says that the sum of the digits have to be 8. So that's all of them, huh? But when the 2 digits were reversed, the temperature warmed up 18 degrees. So if we reverse 1 and 7, we get 71. That's a warm up of 54 degrees. That's too much. If we reverse that, we get 62. That's a warm up. What's 62 minus 26? That would be too much. The answer is C, 35. 35, when I switch them, I get 53, and that would be a warm-up of 18 degrees when I subtract them. Okay? Famous problem, famous answer. We f of g of minus 3, so we're going to stow negative 3 into g. How does that work? We go negative 3 stow x, and then we type in the function g, which is x squared minus 2, we get 7. Then I take the 7, because that's what this is, and I stow it for f. So isn't that 7 stow x? And then I type 4x plus 1 to get 29. Most people don't need the stow for that. They just do it. 23, they love to do this to you. They take a point located at 4, 9, that's 4 to the right and 9 units up, and flip it over the y-axis. So it ends up over here. Well, isn't that left 4 up 9? Choice C. Number theory, they love it. Take an odd number like 5, square it, and add 5. Well, when you square an odd, you get an odd. When you add 2 odds, you get an even. So the answer is always an even number. Properties of odd and even there. What is the least number? I've seen this movie before. When you divide by 7, there's a remainder of 5. Well, let's start with 20. When I divide 7 into 20, I get 2 with a remainder of 6. So that's out. What about 27? I get 3 with a remainder of 6. That's out. I think the answer's 33. When I divide it by 7, I get 4 and a remainder of 5. And when I divide it by 5, I get 6 and a remainder of 3. So C fits the bill. It doesn't matter if these two are answers anyway. They're not. But it's the least number anywho. So it's C. My room needs to have a baseboard installed around it. The room is 15 by 20. This is a classic perimeter problem. So add up all 4 of these and you get 70. But I'm not going to build the baseboard around the whole room. I'm going to subtract the doorways. You don't want a baseboard by the doorway. You want a hole. So they're 3 feet wide, so you're going to subtract 3 twice and get 64. Now, the boards are 30 cents a foot. So you're going to times 64 by 0.3 and get 1920 for your answer G. Oh, I think I skipped one. This one's a little funny. Time. I left New York at 7:30, San Francisco at 11:12, but San Francisco is 3 hours behind. So 11:12 in San Francisco, I'm going to take the 11 and add 3 to it. So that's, I just do this by hand. 12:12 would be 1 hour. 1:12, 2 hours. 2:12 is 3 hours. So I took off at 7:30 a.m. and landed at 2:12 p.m., which means I'm going to add 5 just to get to noon, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2:30 would be 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. In 7 hours, it would be 2:30. So what is it, y'all? It's a little less than 7 hours. It's going to be 18 minutes less than 7 hours. 60 minus 18 gives me the answer D. Probably a little confusing. I serve 3 dog treats. I'm sorry. 4 dog treats and 3 cat treats. They're all different. And one of the cat toys is a spherical ball with a diameter 4. I ain't dumb. I'm putting a radius of 2. And catnip causes a reaction in 80% of cats. And we make $7.50 on each catnip ball. So a bunch of different confusing information. Now, what do I have? I'm going to test it on 200 cats. So 80% have a reaction. Be careful. The question is, whatever I get 80%, I times it by 0.8. So that would give me 160. The question is, who does not have a reaction? So that would be 40 cats. G. I sold 1,500 balls in the 7th month and 1,550 in the 8th month. They're preaching to me that this is an arithmetic sequence, so I'm gaining 50 each month. But they don't want me counting forwards. They want me counting backwards to the 3rd month. So I subtract 50 instead. If you notice, I have no pride. I'm going to just count backwards by 50, and that's how much I sold in the 3rd month, was 1,300, and I make a 750 profit. So I take the 1,300 and times it by 750, right? And I get the answer 9750, which works beautifully on here. It's choice B. So ready? The next one, what happens? I will add 3 different gerbil treats. So first of all, I have to line up 1 box each flavor. So how many ways can I do that? There are 7 different boxes. So it's 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So that is called 7 factorial ways. But I'm going to add 3 boxes. So instead I have 3 more gerbil treats to add to my, these are all different too. I'm not doing a good representation of that. So I now have 10 different treats. So the number of ways I can write that is 10 times 9 times 8 times 7, or 10 factorial. Now the question was, how many more orders will I have on the shelf? So it's the difference of the two, 10 factorial minus 7 factorial. Whenever they ask how many more, you know you're subtracting the big number from the little number. This one's harder to do mathematically. Many will see it. Half of the trees is 1/2 x. A third of the trees plus 120, what does that make? That makes all the trees. So you'd be solving that equation on the solver or by hand, and you would get 1/2 x plus 1/3 x plus 120, and the dirty trick is that's all the trees x. Solve. And there's your answer, 719.99999, 720. I would have plugged and shoved. I would have taken the 220 and said, all right, half are apple, so that's 110. A third are cherry, that would be 1/3 of 220, so it doesn't even work out evenly. And then added the 120, and that should equal 220, which it certainly does not. If you do that, this would last as the number that you need. The answer is E. 32. The median, oh no, it's an even number of numbers. So you're at 87, 85, 78, 94, 67, 97, 55, 81, 87 again, and 99 is going to be the top number up here. Sorry for the mess, but that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my high five. And where's my low five? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. the medians, the average of 87 and 85. It's J86. I started to do this when using box, but the numbers are the same for the board. It's just 6.5 feet. Feet is how many inches. I would times it by 6.5 by 12, and I can do that on the calculator for you. I would use alpha y equals 2 and go 6.5 if you would, or 6.5 times 12. Now I'm going to divide that by 6, but be careful, I waste 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to divide that by 6 1/8, because that's technically how long each board is. It's the 6 inches plus the waste. Uh-oh, I don't want a frac, I want a number. So I could have just hit 3. And I can make 12.7 of these dogs. Be careful, it does not round up. I cannot make the 13th, I can only make 12. Mutually exclusive means the events have nothing to do with each other. That means you can add the probabilities. 1/8 plus 1/4. If they weren't mutually exclusive, I couldn't do it because there would be some overlap. Radians to degrees is a program in my calculator. You would take the program and go down to, I think it's rad degree. So I go down to R, and then what do I got? I got a radian, and the radian is 7 pi over 9, and that gives you the answer 140 degrees. Conversion factor for those who have pride is there are 180 radians. There's 180 degrees in pi radians. So the pi's would cancel, and the answer would be 7/9 times 180 to get 140. Totally cheated on this one. It's a rectangle, so I made up an answer for angle 1, which is 20, which does allow me to solve the rest of the angles. Shouldn't 2 be 70? Because it makes a 90-degree angle. Shouldn't 3 be 20? Shouldn't 4 be 70? Shouldn't 6 be 20? This should be 90, and this should be 70. So who has the same answer as 20? Shoot, I've covered them up. 3 and 6. K is the answer. So I kind of ruined it for you. The math would be that they are they're complements of the same angle. Okay? But the perfect way to do that is just to plug in a number for 1. Let's say 1 was 30 degrees. Now think about filling in the rest of the numbers and who would be equal. You can cheat on this one with area of a circle. It says the area is 64 pi. It won't take you long to guess it. Let's just start with a radius of 10. Well, that's 100 pi. That's no good. So let's try 5. That would be 25 pi. It's got to be a radius of 8. So the radius of 8 gives you a area of 64 pi and a circumference of 16 pi. So the answer there is B, 16 pi. Probably want some math, don't you? area formula is pi r squared. The pi's would cancel, and you get r is 8. And then the circumference formula is 2 pi r, so it would be 2 pi times 8, 16 pi. 38, I would use the slope program to get the equation of the line. Whenever you have 2 points, you can use slope to get the equation. And who are those 2 points? 2, 3, and 4, 0. And it gives you the equation y equals negative 3/2 x plus 6. Now they want you to plug in 7 for x, so it would be negative 3/2 times 7 plus 6 Matha Fracca. I thought maybe about doing it with a graph where 2, 3 is here, 4, 0 is here, and then you can kind of construe where 7 would be. It looks like it's negative a little bit, so that would throw out those answers. It's more than that, but you'd end up with a difficult decision. I guess you could tell it's not 10 down, so I guess you could have graphed it and come up with that. I love that we're on adding fractions. I do killer cross. Common denominator's 3a. Cross them up, 3 plus 2a is the answer D. Top probability here. I've got to select 2 mints. I got to do it in separate picks. How many mints are there? 5. There are 2 greens and 3 whites. And I need to pick a green. So how many greens are there? There are 2 greens out of the 5 mints. But now I have to do it twice. So I have to pick a green and now select another green. So how many marbles are there left? Or how many mints are there left? 4. And there ain't 2 greens no more. There's only 1. This is reduced counting. And you get 2 over 5 times 1 over 4 Matha Fracca. That's a tough one. Its counting is reduced to get the answer 1/10, which is F. 41. Tough one. It says a formula. You know my tip with formulas. You're either going to be plugging in for I to solve for D, or plugging into D to solve for I. So D is 100. You know I have no pride. I'm going to put that into equation solver. Math last solver. The left side is 100. The right side is 10 log of Fracca. On the top of Fracca is I. Honestly, I'll just put X. Over 10 to the what? Minus 12. Close parentheses, I guess you have to, and solve. 0.01. And 0.01 It's 10 to the minus 2. Want to do some real math? Divide both sides by 10. And you get 10 is the log of I over 10 to the 12th. I actually put the 10 to the 12th up here. Now, this is 10 to the 10th. When you do the log, it's 10 to the 10th equals 10 to the 12th I, and you divide by 10 to the 12th. I equals that. Subtract the exponents, 10 minus 12. Boom. Law of sines, it's a famous formula. This is 50, this is 60, so 180. Sine of 70 is to its opposite side, as sine of 50 is to its opposite side. Works for any triangle. Cross multiply, you get x sine 70 is 150 sine 50, and then you divide by sine of 70, and there's the matchup G. The volume of a box is length times width times height. So what if I double it? It's 2 length times width times height. Tricky. There are only kidney beans and pinto beans in a jar. So I put 4 kidney beans. And how many pintos must I add so that there are chances are exactly 1 in 5. So it's actually, I have 4 kidney beans and I have to add some. Well, let's try 20. If I add 20, there would be a 20 pinto beans over 24. I'm sorry, I'm doing it backwards. There would be 4 kidney beans over 24. That doesn't make 1 in 5. The answer you're looking for is 16, because if I add 16 to the bottom, I would get 20, and there would be 4 over 20, 1 over 5 chances, so the answer is 16. A lot of tricks on this one. So there are 20 cars, 4 are luxury sedans, which must mean that the 16 are mid-size sedans. So the rate for a luxury sedan is 45 a day, and the mid-size is 50% more. So what I do, 50% more, I would multiply by 1.5. So 1.5 times what gives me 45. And I'm doing solver, I would just divide. 30. So these are $30 a day. Now, what's the average of the cars? Average is total. So you're going to multiply 4 by 45 and get 180. And 16 times 30 is 480. So it's 180 plus 480 is 660 divided by 20. $33 a car, huh? Whenever you do area of a regular polygon, you divide it into areas of pieces of pizza. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 the altitude times the base, and then you multiply it by how many pizzas you got. So in this case, the altitude is RM, the base is BC, there's your half, and the N is how many you got. This one's a dirty one. If the two sides are 5 and 7, this can be at most 12. It can't be 12. It must be less than 12. And then there's a chance that it's the little side we're after, and it could be 2 or greater. It has to be at least 2. That's because the two sides added up have to be greater than the third. So the way I teach this in geometry is the side has to be less than the sum, but greater than the difference. And that allowed me to do this real fast. It's got to be less than 12 and greater than 2. This will FOIL and you'll get x squared. Ix and negative Ix will cancel. Now you just got to know what I times negative I is. The calculator will do that for you. I times maybe negative I, and you get positive 1. Don't worry about the 0 I, it cancels. So it's positive 1 x squared plus 1. Watch out, C is not a diameter, AD is. So we want to know the arc A to C to E. Well, if this is a diameter, this has got to be 110. So you just add up the 3 numbers, 110, 70, and 60. Looking for AC using trig. So I can't fit them all in. AC is by X. Now, this is where you've got to be smart. This angle here is 70. This angle here is 110, which makes both of these 35. So it would be the SOHCAHTOA, the sine of 35 is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse, which is AD, which I think they gave me up here is 12. So the answer is 12 sine 35. J. There's also a theorem you may remember from geometry. It's the actual way I did this. Inscribed angles is half of the arc. So that's got to be 35 for that one. So the answer is J. This one was cute. I'm going to rotate E counterclockwise. So what happens to CE? Well, it's going to get larger till I get to the diameter, and then it's going to start decreasing till I get to here. The segment keeps getting shorter and shorter. So it increases a little bit, then decreases choice E. Inverse function, you take them and switch them. This says y equals x cubed, so x equals y cubed. Solve for y by cube rooting. They're just reverses. What's the reverse of squaring? Square rooting. What's the reverse of cubing? Cube rooting. Totally cheated on this one. B is less than A. It's less than 14. So the largest A plus B, I want A to be big. I want A to be 13. They got to be positive integers. So I tried 12 and realized that A plus B would be 25, and it would not be divisible by 3. Try 11, though, and it would be 24, which is divisible by 3. This one was weird. There were 52 students at the party, but 16 more juniors than seniors. I kind of plugged and chugged this to get the answer, but the answer for X is 18. So there are 18 seniors, and wait, I did this wrong. X plus 20. Where did I get 16 from? So it's 32. It's 16 seniors and 36 juniors. Now, fast forward. Of the 52 people, 25% have summer jobs. So of the 52 people, how many have summer jobs? 13. So they want the maximum number it could be of the seniors, 81%. I take the 13, 25% of 52, and I'd say, all right, what if they're all seniors? Maybe none of the juniors want to work. Careful, this is a tricky one. Minimum value. Since 2x is a plus, I want x to be as small as possible, and I want y to be as big as possible. So very simply, x is -2, and I want y to be big is 3. And the answer is -4 minus 9, -13. Another trick here. Ratio of A to B is 5 to 1. Ratio of B to C is 9 to 1. So it looks like we gotta say cross multiply, and A is 5B. And B is 9C, which makes C B over 9. I want everybody in terms of B. So the top here is 2A. So it's 2 times 5B plus 3B over 4B plus 3 times B over 9. Get to do our complex fraction here. So the top is 10 plus 3, 13. And the bottom is 4 plus 1/3. Notice I'm ignoring the b's, they cancel. So it'd be 13 divided by 4 plus 1/3. Fracca, don't need it, it's 3. Honestly, I should have done this. 13 over 4 plus fracca 1/3. Cool, huh? All right, we're at the bitter end. for any number, be careful, t could be negative. And if it's negative, that's false. And that's false. That's false. What's true is this one's going to be at least equal to that, if not greater. So if they're negative, these two are the same number, okay? You could have done that with plugging in or stowing. This is not true because E is negative no matter what, and this one is positive. So D is the only one that makes sense. Log rules. Who knows them? Timesing of logs is addition. And power of logs is multiplication. So 2 times log A, which is 3, gives you the answer 6 plus 2, 8. I was trying to think, oh yeah, you could have cheated because log A is 3. Now that should make A 10 to the third. And B would be 10 to the second. So I could have stowed that 10 to the third. Wait, is that right? Is A. And 10 to the second is my B. So what's the log of A squared B? Ooh. Here's a weird one. It says the square root of A is bigger than A. That means A has got to be a fraction. That's the only numbers whose square root is bigger. If you take a number greater than 1, the square root is smaller. But if you take a fraction like 1/5, the square root is bigger. That's bigger than 1/5. What's the square root of 1/2? It's bigger than a half, huh? So the answer has got to be a fraction. If you think about it, you can plug these in and try it and realize that that's got to be it. It's got to be a fraction. And finally, when we times these, we times the numbers 2 times 1, and we times what's inside the radical. There's your answer. However, they want the 2 inside. So what is the 2 on the inside? Is 3 2's. Because 3 2's would get out of jail free. So what's the answer? 16 x squared. And that's all, folks. We're done.